Hello, you're watching Telecom TV. We are at Mobile World Congress 2016 in Barcelona in Spain, and I'm talking with Saar Gillai, who is the Senior Vice President, General Manager of the Com Solutions business at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Saar, good to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you again.
Right, let's get straight to it. How has the communications landscape evolved over the past 12 months, do you think?
Well, I think there's been actually a lot of changes, but to summarize it, when I come here to Mobile World Congress, right, you sort of look into everything and what's going on, and I think is like in 2014, in terms of softwareization and network functionalization, because it's sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
2014 was about the what. What is it? Interesting terms. 2015 was about the why. Why are we doing this? And then now we're talking about the how. 2016 we've moved to the how. So I think there's really an embrace of this need to move to sort of the cloudification and software model, and that over the last year has really taken off, and people now are really just talking about, okay, how do I do it? How do I move forward? Where the last year it was more about the why should we do this?
Good, thank you. Second question, what is HPE's point of view on the evolution?
So, we a few years back, right, we sort of started this, we saw this coming along, and we realized that, for the service providers to move from this connectivity business to become a digital service provider, They really need to embrace this change. And, one of the things that we looked at is that, the world is moving from where everything is based on specs and sort of to more of ecosystem plays, because that's how this world works. And so we launched our Open NFV program to start building out an ecosystem for that. And so our view is that the telecoms really need to embrace what we call the telco cloud to become full digital service providers, and we can help them drive that matter by going through a stage, an organized level of going there. So we think that they need to really embrace that, and there are many facets of doing it. They need to focus on cloudifying their programmable infrastructure. They need to address the orchestration piece, right? Because you got to move from a very manual-based operation to full automation, and then they have to have a better way of managing their data. It's really important to understand the importance of culture, the importance of business case, and the importance of getting early successes, right? So figuring out, okay, if you're going to run virtualization, if you're going to do some NFV, what can you do that's going to give you a quick return? Don't just replicate something you already have, because then that later everything will be virtualized. But what start off with something like what we did with Swisscom was VCPE. So you go and you get services, you figure out a way to do agile services and go from months to configure a service to minutes, and then you can see the immediate return. And while you see that, also you can drive the culture of adopting some agility and getting the organization comfortable with this model before you take on very large things. And so that's really an important piece of the how, while always focusing on what the value prop is going to be at the top line, not just, okay, this is going to save me a lot of money, but how do I increase agility by driving some of these services?
Okay, thank you. So then, how and where has Hewlett-Packard Enterprise played a role in this evolution?
Yeah, so as I was talking before, we saw this a few years ago, and we've been pushing that direction. As the only sort of real vendor that has sort of both really a leader in IT and cloud, and also has a lot of telco history with our CMS portfolio and our HSS and our orchestration, right? We're in a unique position to help them on this journey, because you really need a combination of both. It's really a hybrid sort of environment. And so, we've gone across all the different levels here. We've launched solutions that enable network function virtualization based on open source with our leadership in OpenStack. NFV Systems as a system that allows that. We've launched NFV Director, which really enables you to manage this new virtual environment, but leveraging the capabilities that are important in the OSS. We've now recently just launched the Service Director, which actually allows you to really tie the current system that you're doing all the way from the service down to the infrastructure, right? Because if you make your infrastructure run really fast, but the service is still very slow, it's not going to help you, right? And we're obviously driving this big open NFV ecosystem, right? Which we believe is really the way forward, right? It's not going to be a one vendor silo environment. It's going to be an ecosystem play. Obviously, right? In order to move this forward, it's a lot about doing POCs, proofs of concepts, getting the telcos comfortable that this really is something that's important. And today now also we're working very heavily on driving the business side of the aspect, right? One of the key things that's important here is to focus on the business, right? The technology is an enabler, But you got to sort of say, okay, what am I need to do? And now moving forward, right, speed is the most important thing. And to understand, okay, how do I move faster? Maybe I need to virtualize, maybe I need to do something else, but how do I move faster from service requirement to service creation to service monetization? And finally, I think a key element that's really important is culture. Right, that's one of the things that's really important, right? We've got to move, it's interesting to talk about all these new technologies, but really the most important thing is to understand that moving to these technologies means to move to a different culture, a more DevOps-oriented horizontal culture, and that's not easy because the telco has spent the past 20 years being very successful in very sort of organized, structured environments, and they're good for what they were doing, but they're not good for speed. And today, the winning plan for everything is speed.
Okay, that was a speedy interview. Saar Gillai, thank you very much indeed.
Always good to be here.